Slide. Just watching everybody on the call, the whole different departments, and it's one of this type of so all this. So let's start off with speeds that we use. You did get us some opportunity at the bottom, but you work on solve the yes. If there's anybody that's problem with the need, just that we can get that sorted also, please. So, my opinion, so there's a lot of background with solve it. So, is it stuff? Okay. Gemisset voor hier ja. Dan heb je die tower gekomen van mensen wat op YouTube kijken. Kijk, groeien is het al met koffie en ons nieuwe doen. So thanks for attending. I do appreciate everybody. It is not pleasant weather. If it was summer, we probably have a lot of people here sitting in costumes and dames in with bikinis. So, soos nie daar is, ons allemaal so, ek wil vandag begin met 'n paar belangrike goed. Die eerste ding is, ek wil vir Pieter kan jy vorentoe kom, dat Pieter net vir ons gemaak met gebed asseblief. Dankie vir die weer wat geval het. Hierdie vraag hier word sal wees dat die vergadering sal lei en die vir ons wysheid sal gee. Dat die elke persoon wat volgende moet doen op die toekoms sal sien en dat die periode oor die week sal rus in Jesus se naam. Amen. Right. Okay. Ons gaan die stemming moet ingaan ons die institusie. So as daar enige rede is, miskien vroeg ingekom het ons nog nie kaartjies gehad het nie, jy sal sien, julle sit 'n groen, blou, groen, beks, van nie vir julle gebeur nie. Ek wil net hier nog al 'n kaartjie hê, as ons...
Een kaartjie per
ja, dit is een kaartjie per huishouding per lid. So as jy nie, steek net jou hand op. Jadien sal groot kaartjies uitklop, dan sê seker nie maar die kaartjies asseblief.
Sorry, what must we do with this card?
We had to use it when we go to voting, because it's just easier to see who's members and who's not members with a card that's in the end. Thank you. Because remember, we invite everybody. We don't just invite members. When it comes to voting, only the members are allowed to vote. That's the constitution. That's all. Ja, je mag volgende keer gaan. Je is niet stemgerechtigd, maar als je dat betaalt, als Pieter gezegd, als Pieter, jij kan niet Pieter betalen, daar zijn. En anders jij automatisch. Ongelukkig gaan je weer moet betalen voor die volgende jaar. Zoals je dat betaalt, dan je net voor je ja, zo bij. Any questions about that joining and buying, etc. Line. The Constitution currently does not make provision for anybody online to vote. Oh, yes, well, I can't hear them. So if anybody knows anybody on YouTube, you're welcome just to let me know and just check it out, please. Is it not good? Tyler? Okay, we'll sort that out. Just keep me informed, please, if you do see something strange. Just John, the echo will be Mike. Okay, dan gaan anything else? Right, English of Afrikaans speaking people ask English without Afrikaans. English. I just see much you can in English of Afrikaans. I can write English. Okay, Janine is just the YouTube is working. Quality seems to be better. So thanks a lot for that. Right then I just want to ask everybody. Let's just respect each other when we go through the meeting. If there are questions, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions, to give replies. But let's respect everyone. And I'll ask also that we don't use abusive language when we have discussions with you. Sometimes we do get a bit heated, and I'd like us just to keep calm. Right, then today is all about our constitution. That's the main topic of today. Is the constitution changes that we need to bring to the constitution. And if you remember at the AGM of 2023, I'm not sure how many of you attended, but there's a lot of people that made reference to the constitution that needs to be changed. I myself stood up and said we will work on that. Well, today we are putting forward a draft on the constitution, and Mark will take us through a brief version of these changes and take it forward from there. So Thank you. Then I just want to go over to a couple of points. The first one is Janine. Janine Young has resigned as our secretary and as the communications officer for the YRA due to a lot of personal issues and other. I really want to thank Janine for the past 8 months, the work that she has done, what she has brought to the Residents Association, and the interaction that she has had with quite a number of yourselves and with us as management. So I would like us just to give Janine a good applause and say thank you, Janine, for the work you have done. Thank you, Janine. It's a sad day to actually say this, but yeah, today is actually the last day that Janine is assisting us. And again, thanks, Janine, for doing that. But in the same breath, Janine has played a critical role. We are looking for a volunteer that can assist us in the role of Janine's absence when she left. So if there's anybody willing to become a communications officer, secretary for the YRA, we are really looking for nominations. Anybody, you're welcome to contact Mark after the meeting, you're welcome to contact myself. You can also send it via email to myself at meeting-2024@gmail.com or to Mark's Gmail also. So really, ladies that type fast, run slow, those are the people that we are looking for. But we're looking for people that can assist with a good knowledge on computerware, those items. So anybody now that would like to stick up their hand, or anybody now know of any nominations, we're willing to take down those names and we'll contact them after the meeting. Any fingers in now? Nobody? I don't know. So, size is not any development in this town. What we do look at, we do understand is that unjust and irresponsible development is not something that we want in India. Yes, this town is growing. There will be partial development, there will be some stuff that's coming up, but we will not allow, as much as what we have, your support, because we only act on what we are getting from our members. So if you support us, we will take those points and we will drive them to make sure that we can, in the best of our knowledge, and get assistance to stand some of these developments against. So please be with us and understand that we are not against development, but it is against irresponsible development. Then, just on the next point, we have also been looking at how do we grow our team and how do we get the correct people to join and that can give us right inputs. And I want to use this point. I want to introduce Yzerfonen Residents. Yzerfonen is somebody that's in the town sometime now. He's comes from Nelspruit, Sappi. He's been about in the country with Sappi. He's also got some good relationships with national government. And we have had an interview with Yzerfonen, us as management. And today I'd like to just present Yzerfonen to everyone in the audience. Maybe Yzerfonen, you can just stand up so everyone can see it. So Yzerfonen will be prominent in assisting us with some of the safety aspects and looking at some of the aspects with regards to national points. Anything else I may have left out is here. So just on that point then, if anybody opposes that, I would like to welcome Yzerfonen to the management of the Residents Association. Okay, thanks a lot for that. Then, guys, this is a bit of a difficult one. In our last SGM, I made mention that we are targeting 1,000 members. Currently, I stand there with a bit of a red face. We are just over 235, 240 residents, members that have joined. Out of 1,100 households, we've only managed to get 240 members. So my request again to all of you is that you please assist. For us 5, us 6, as the management, we can't get to everybody. You must realize that. Yes, sir? There are some people that feel they would prefer development in the town and that they don't want to become members. So there are people, and we respect it. I think it's fair if somebody does not want to become a member, but it's a handful of people. It's not a how can I say, an audience like we have now. It's a limited handful. So I would request, guys, that we please help and assist, speak to your neighbors, speak to other people, that we go out and help with a bit of marketing and canvassing and get members to join us. It's critical that we build on this. If we take on the 214 members that we have and 100 rand membership, it gives us 24,000 rand income per year. So 24,000 rand income is not much. If we can get 1,000 people, it's 100,000. And why am I saying this 100,000 rand? We have, as management, gone out. We've got a lot of legal fees. We've approached lawyers. We've approached attorneys. We've been touching on the development at the back of Atlantic. We've got lawyers involved with the change in the constitution. We are busy upgrading the website. Our website is under construction currently. All of this costs money. Even using John Ray on the side, thank you, John Ray, for assisting that. It costs us money. Swartland is not that open to us. They also charge a small fee for us to be in this, make use of the hall. So there's a lot of other small things. When we have a meeting where we pull in some other people, there's some other hidden costs that come up. We are just besides the website, it's the link into the IT side, which is all costing money. So currently, we've approached some of our residents which have been open to our cause, and we have received donations of up to around 80,000 rand mark. And some of them might be here, some of them might not be here, so I'm going to thank them. But I also asked if there are any of you that would like to be donations. We are still approximately 40,000 rand short to cover all of our current debts as I stand here today. So if there are people that would like to make donations, you're welcome to pay it into our standard bank account. You're willing to put your name onto that and add on just that this is a donation. We are really open and would like to get more donations. As I said, we need currently 40,000 just to cover some of our current debts. It's been a bit tough, and everyone knows it's been a tough financial year. So that's where we stand. Yeah, Peter will share with you our financial statements, that you can see where we're spending the money. And it's not going on luxuries, not buying a new car or whatever, which I'd love to do. But anyhow, so it's going back into the community, and understand that it's not money that we are just spending. Between Mark, myself, and Peter, we have a tight control on those monies. We challenge everyone to be given out. We challenge that once, just to make sure that it's going. So please, what's the word that be confident that you are not spending the money just unnecessarily. So if I then go over to that, and remember, I'm not asking for those donations, it's difficult. We have also decided that as management that we will keep the fees of 100 Rand per year. We will keep that. We're not going to increase it. Changing that to 100, 120, 150 Rand, it's not going to change anything much on our balance sheet. So we would rather that people, individuals come forth and say, guys, here's $1,000, $5,000, $20,000, $50,000. Okay, we don't stop. Right. So guys, please understand that we are in need of those funds, and I really would appreciate if you can assist us on that. Right, as I mentioned that. Then just a couple of last points from my side. On the 17th of June, it was a public holiday. In the afternoon, the YRA committee got together with the chairpersons of the Neighborhood Watch, Bavaria, and tourism. And we sat down and we did a SWOT analysis on Yzerfonen. People were asking, what? One of the things that have come up is that we've seen that Yzerfonen is a fragmented town. People are running in different directions, people have different views, and we need to get one view, one mandate when we go forward and speak to SWOT municipality. So we've re-established the Yzerfonen Forum, where we will have all the committees get together. I've set up those meetings. We've had a couple of challenges. We'll be going forward and getting that block done. But we want to talk with one voice. And I think that's very important. Communication is one of the big challenges that we have in this town. Communication from yourselves, from us to you, and from the different organizations also. So if we all understand who's who in the zoo and who's responsible for what, and we give that one message out, that's really going to make everybody's life in Yzerfonen much easier. That we don't get all these fragmented questions and challenges going through. The communication is one of the biggest challenges that we have. Then the second part is involvement. How do we get you involved? Because at the end of the day, this is Yzerfonen, our community, and we are all passionate about Yzerfonen. Otherwise, we wouldn't be living here. So let's work together on that one, please. Then, also going forward, I think I just did not say everything. Then just thank Edward Britain also for being a part of a co-opted member for some time this year. We were busy with the Constitution, some of his inputs into that from the past, just to show you guys that, we really need the inputs of people that have the know-how, people that don't have the know-how, to assist us and take us forward. So thank you, Edward, also for that. We appreciate that. Then I would like to go, as I said earlier on today, it's all about the Constitution. Now, I'm going to ask Mark then to go over to the Constitution, give us a short abridged version of some of the changes, and then also we will go into a voting period. Mark will take you through that. And after that, I'm going to give Peter Kuhn the opportunity to just do a short motivational point and speech that he would like to also share with everybody here. Are there any questions before we go over to the Constitution? Not related to the Constitution now, but anything that I have said. Is there anything that anybody would like to add? Those at home, please raise your hands. I can't see you. There's somebody there. Yes, Charles. The meeting. The meeting was advertised on all of our websites. It was advertised, or not advertised, it was before 44 days ago, Charles. So somewhere, maybe there's a link that's missing. But did you pay today? So you... Thank you, Charles. So, appreciate it, guys. Okay, what will happen is once you're a member, you will, and Peter has got all the info, your name will be put onto our website as well as onto our WhatsApp groups. And then all the communication from that will flow through to that. If you're with me, you see them.
I didn't know what was now. I didn't know about these people. What is the matter for all of us to regulate what we said over the times?
Charles, I thank you for I thank you for that, and that is the challenge that we have, where we don't have people in our town talking to each other about the Residents Association. If we have that spread, if we have that spread, that will really help us and assist us to go forward. So then, and I must admit, from the takeover from last year until now, there has been a bit of couple of drops of mud that have fallen along the side. We're trying to improve on that and get that sorted out, because there's, we might have lost some people that have paid, and we're trying to get that sorted. Some people that approached us, and said, I have paid, but I don't see my name. So I do apologize if that is. But please just bear with us. Going forward for 2025, I can guarantee you that that will be sorted. Thank you. We take it up to the one of the ideas is to try and get a billboard put up just outside the spa, electronic billboard. That's one of the ideas that we have. Again, it's going to cost money, but it's part of our development and it's part of our plan moving forward. So we can make sure that when things are there, not because some of our older generation people are not that familiar on these fancy phones and smartphones, etc. A lot of people prefer the older phones. So, with the big writing, etc. So we have to make sure that we can communicate to our residents. Because that's one of the other things that came down also, is how do we protect our people? How do we ensure we make sure those are the people in this community that are valuable to us, that have been through many years and building this down? How do we ensure that they stay on? Right, thank you for those comments. We take note.
Join you, that it doesn't really get we now have 98 support group that normally have to do with so they are ready to work with state agents and investment class, they get what you do, things like that. To get into the press, to come up with a stream article about open and pass that, something, and some people are about contact number if you want to support, and you can always people know and you get a call for what are they expecting of you, so once you manage you have to ask that, and people something that interests you have someone to share.
Thank you, that will be appreciated. You have our mail. Please share and we will contact you on that. Anything else? Right. Mark, thank you. Good luck. Mark has been instrumental in developing the constitution. He's been speaking to the attorneys. Mark has a lot of our legal stuff from the YRA. So thank you, Mark. I just said a few things before I start. The reason I joined is because we are a fragmented community, and that's the only reason I joined, to try and see if we can actually help harmonise the town. And the forum that has been talked about is really exciting. And this strategic plan that we're putting together is not going to be our plan, it's going to be the town's plan. And actually the pressure on membership then becomes less in a sense, because the various elements, bodies that sit on the board represent almost most of the time. And we will not trip over each other by having a coordinated plan. That's the whole idea behind it. So I think that's very exciting. And also very exciting to have SV on board. This chap used to run one of the biggest mills in South, 10,000 people. He's had vast experience not only in managing people, but also interacting with municipalities, provincial and central government, all sorts of things like that. So, to have that expertise on board is a treasure. And I know there are many guys out here who've got other skills. Please approach us, even if you don't want to be a part of the committee, because it is a time consuming affair, and you believe you can add value, like your point. I think it's wonderful. The communication and marketing side of things, I think, is the weakest element. You asked earlier why numbers growing, and I think we haven't really marketed ourselves correctly. We decided to do a few things step by step. The Constitution is one of them. Getting the town to speak to each other, to speak with one voice, the forum, is the second mission. And if we can achieve that and have our strategic plan adopted, and then we're going to have a giant forum where people will meet and the town will be able to comment on the plan that the forum has endorsed, then we're moving in the right direction. Because down the line, the long-term aim, this is not the committee's view or YRA's view, I personally believe that the only way we're going to actually get more money into this town from a rates perspective is by going down the CIP route, City Improvement District route, where a little bit gets added to all our bills by the municipality, and that money then gets channeled to various causes that we collectively agree. We can ensure that that money stays here. Because at the moment, we pay as much rates almost as Malmesbury, and we get very little back. This is where SV is going to play an important role to start demanding in a gentle way that our needs to be looked after. We do know and recognise that we've got to look after the poor, and we've got to subsidise it, but at the same time, we can't let our society fall to pieces and town fall to pieces. We don't want to become a St. Bar. We don't want to become a Longaban. We want to stay the unique town that we are. Take care of the young. We need to get the young to join our association to take care of the old. We don't want them going to Google to die. We want them to die here. And there are a lot of things that we can do in this town. It's quite exciting. There are a lot of skills out here. Please come to us if you've got those, even if you want to be just opted rather than. Okay, so I had that spiel. Now we're going to talk about the Constitution. Mr. Zed, would you mind sitting there? This was rather hastily drafted, really just to tell you what it's about. The old Constitution needed to be modernized to keep in touch with the era. Can this work? I want to be doing this, that's also fine. So the purpose is to modernize the governance structure. Governance in the corporate world, you have corporate governance where, the articles of association will dictate how shareholders and management share power. And it's no different here. You, the members, on the one hand, need more protection. And that's why we're making the changes. Because we think that the committee, like board, had too much power before. We need to have a fair share of power. So that's one of the prime motivations. We also wanted to take account of the new digital era that we're involved in. We can't quite get, we are giving people access
as we speak to this meeting, and they can't vote under the old constitution, and also they can't vote under the new. It's maybe something that will come in the future. Somebody asked the question a little earlier, but it's a very complex exercise to verify it and to dovetail it together with not only votes of people here, but proxies and so on. It's a very complex and expensive exercise. So it's something that will be considered in the future. So those are the two main real reasons, and then to make it more inclusive, we want to ensure that the people who can't attend can send proxies to vote, and they can also be counted towards the quorum and also be counted towards the voting, so that there's more inclusive decision making. So those are the real motivations. You can skip the next page. Yeah. Because I basically talked about that. And then you can just go on to the next page. There we go. So let's just talk briefly about the existing constitution. Once if you're a member, you've got 4 houses. You can be a member. The tenants in those other houses can potentially be members, but you can't have 4 votes. Under the current constitution, if you have 4 properties, you can have 4 votes. So that's a concept, 1 house, 1 vote. Concept we've introduced to give people more say, more invested in the town. If you're a company or a corporation or so on, you must have a nominee who must be appointed to represent that group. So there'll be 1 house, 1 vote. And we've also introduced the whole concept of life membership for people who've served on this committee for many years or who've donated large sums of money that is infinite and just to encourage people to do that. A further thing that we're looking at doing, and you'll see it flagged in the new constitution, is possibly registering as a non-profit kind of organisation, and then we will be tax exempt, but that has to be reviewed on an annual basis. It comes with quite a lot of changes that we'll probably have to make to the constitution nearer the time. But that's something that's a new course. Thanks. So general meetings, and this is the future, obviously. Under the current, there is voting by members who are registered paid up members, and you're going to vote by second poll. When you're a small organisation, it's quite easy to count. It's quite easy, but the minute you become bigger, it becomes more clumsy. It also isn't quite private, particularly when it comes to sensitive matters. Some people don't vote honestly because they're influenced by other people or feel pressurized into certain things. So secret ballot or ballot is a slightly more time-consuming process. It's more chemical intensive, but it is the way to go. So we decided to go down ballot. Unless we unanimously decide at a meeting, listen, this is such a small decision, we can do it quickly, let's do it by way of poll, and we all agree, there are no objectives, we can do it. So that's the objective there. And then, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, people can attend virtually, but they can't vote, not at this stage. That's something we'll contemplate in the future. And then the executive committee, as before, is between 5 and 7 people. Instead of actually electing people to roles, which the previous constitution did in the case of chairperson, vice chairperson, and treasurer, we said, look, you just vote for the people, and we will kind of organise ourselves. So you're voting sufficient people to cover the roles that are listed there. It's a slightly different approach. And the first 3 speak for themselves, which are kind of critical. Public relations is something which Janine has been doing before, but quite frankly, it's more and more going to be something which it is going to do together with support from myself. And the same with marketing, until we find the right sort of marketing kind of expert who assist us. And that's something that we will then also, rope that person in. The communications officer, as Eddie pointed out, sounds very boring, but we are looking for somebody who's very meticulous, who knows how to take notes. We don't want somebody to report every single word, to capture the gist of what's agreed at a meeting rather than every word. These meetings, special general meetings and annual general meetings are recorded. And that is embedded in the Constitution. So we are looking for that kind of organised person really to assist us. And that's a very important role. Until we find somebody, Suzette has kindly agreed to sort of take over some of the roles and Peter other roles. So we'll be okay for a while. But we're really looking for somebody strong to free up hands to do other things. And then, as I mentioned before, we've got Yzerfonen, who's also going to be public services and infrastructure. So the two things that have come up during that SWOT analysis that we undertook in June, the two biggest threats really are crime, our personal safety, and also the threat to the town in terms of excessive and irresponsible development. And those are the two biggest threats we sort of face. So that's why it's important for us to have a planning and development officer in the form of Z. And in the case of public services and infrastructure, Yzerfonen, so he'll be focusing on police, roads, those kind of the bulk services, the dealings of the municipality and so on, and keep them honest in that regard. That's why we've got the executive, those positions set out like that. And then, as I mentioned before, this is something for the future we flagged and put it into our constitution, but there may need to be, as we go through that process, and the real rationale here is to incentivize people to donate, to have tax deductions for those donations. This would facilitate that. Okay. So, this is the procedure that we will follow today. There'll be a resolution to replace the existing resolution, the existing constitution with this new one that we've got. And we may flip through it for the benefit of people during our discussion who haven't had a chance to look at it. But we'll either approve it as it is at the moment. There are, I have to say, between the 12th of July and today, we received a number of comments, including this morning, I received one or two very sensible comments. So it's the most unlikely route that we'll go. I think the preferable route is to approve it subject to conditions, subject to final comments, tweaks and suggestions that we receive, let's say, over the next month. And provided those are small manuscript changes, it shouldn't be a problem to approve it subject to those changes being made. And then to share it, put it on our website once our website is up and running. It's under construction again at the moment. So, and then you can also choose to decline it. We wouldn't encourage that. That is an option. And then with regards to the people here, I believe that we have got a quorum. The quorum number is 56. Or the threshold was something like 46 or something, but we get 56. Peter, what was the number? We're 56 and the quorum threshold was 46 or 47. So we've got 229, 230 paid members. Is that right? Registered members. And 20% of that is the quorum number. And then persons present have to exceed that number. So we exceeded. So we've got a quorum, and unfortunately, it's only people present. There's no proxy facility at the moment. Under the new December, there is the ability to appoint a proxy, and that's one of the reasons why we try to push this before December, so that when important decisions are made, it's a more inclusive meeting. And at the moment, voting by poll. So today we're going to stick up hands and count. And you've got pieces of paper. And if you've got a piece of paper, then it will be counted. If you don't have a piece of paper, you won't be counted because you're just a visiting interested party or something. Okay, so that's the main thing there. Before we start the discussion, because I'm sure that the people will ask questions on the Constitution, I have got a document here which is a markup of the version which you were shared on the 12th of July. And it incorporates most of the comments. There are a few that I've received today that are not there. If If you would like to go through those roughly in the comments, please say so. Otherwise, if you prefer to have general questions, which we can address, that would be great. But yeah, would anybody like to think that when somebody has a question, I'm going to walk up to them and then hand the microphone so everybody can hear properly? Is it easier here? If you like me on the screen, then you should come forward. If you don't want to be on the screen, you can stay where you are. Are there any questions? Would you like me to just flip through the pages of the Constitution as with the comments that we've gathered so far? Okay, we'll do that.
In the interest of time, we have really acceptance based on conditions now. Because I think it's going to take quite a bit of time. I'm not sure if everybody's got the time tonight.
Okay, I'm going to do it. If I take 5 minutes just going through quickly with that new advice, I won't.
Your meeting is going to take 5 hours.
No, I'm going to try and confine it to 5 minutes. Okay, we'll do it for 5 minutes. Okay. If you could just go through, you could just run through. Some people won't have seen this. There's the name and the status, our legal status. You keep on going. Just go page down. There's over there on the right hand side. Then it just talks about, it's a lot more general than before. The old constitution, it was much more focused on being sort of linked to Scotland and making sure that their policies were correctly enforced and so on. It's much more general now. We're looking after the interests of all our people. Okay. Membership we've talked about already. There are no changes there. I think the first change really is 6.2. That's life membership I've talked about. General meetings. Now, if you just inch up now rather than going page up, by using the up and down button or something. Okay. But 6.2, you'll see that previously we had the date and the version you would have received, the 25th of November until somebody pointed out that we won't know. Until somebody pointed out that we won't know what the date is. And, you know, so how do you know it's 25 days? This is a very sensible decision. So we fixed a date rather of the 15th. We can keep on going down. We've talked about who will be part of the, what will happen at the general meetings. Keep on going. We've talked about voting. Sorry, there was something that was missed there. What is 6.8? Under 6.8, we've touched up the wording on the quorum just to make it more clear. Certainly, there's one of the comments that we received. Okay, keep on going. 7.1. I talked about a little earlier. We're rather going to be having the general positions rather than selected positions. Okay, keep on going. There's nothing more until about 11.3.
7.5.
Sure, 7.5. Yes, 7.5 is a point that Rob referred to earlier, and it's something that has kept us. Under the current Article 6.2, because of Janine leaving, we had a gap. We thought with we needed somebody on board. That's how we called it. We have the ability to elect and fill positions when they become available, when the need arises. And Rob kindly pointed out this morning that the new constitution doesn't have that provision. So we'll be including a new clause 7.5 that says that should a position become available for any reason, we may fill it by election or co-option. We'll draft that in the next draft that we'll share with people once in a month's time, once everybody's given us their comments. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rob. Okay, and then 11.3 I've talked about already. That's got to do with the tax provision to encourage people to donate. It's something we're going to contemplate in the future. It's not for now. And 12. In the Constitution, we done at any general meeting, provided you give 21 days notice. It's important for people on an important matter like that to have sufficient time to, to study the reasons for and that's about it. And what we've also attached on two new, first of all, the geographic map of Yzerfonen as per the Scotland Spatial Development Framework, and we've attached two new forms for applications, whether if you're an individual under A, and if you're a company or a trust under B. So they're new forms. So there haven't been many changes, but those are the changes that we've made so far. So with that in mind, are there any other questions, or would people like to discuss any points? Would you like another month to study this market? We circulate, I don't know. So you don't duplicate. How would you like to do it? Okay. So would you like us? Okay, I'll ask you to stick a hands. Would you like us to pass a resolution to vote on implementing it, subject to minor changes that are received within the next couple of weeks? Can we stick a pants and we can just get a general? Would you say that's a majority? Because majority. But we need to get it 2/3. Yes, there's a question. Sorry, can we just forward? Stop.
I'm very famous now. Sarah, nice to meet you all. Just a small question on protocol. If we vote today to accept by conditions, how do we understand which conditions and how they were adopted into the Constitution? With good faith, I'm sure, but.
Well, I've been through very fleetingly the changes that we've seen so far. What we can do is vote now subject to minor manuscript changes. If there's anything dramatic, we'll have to come back to. I think that if there are minor changes that are not going to affect anyone, like a comma here or a business division, but I don't think you're going to have to give us that authority to say, look, use your discretion. If it's something that's quite serious, make orders to reconsider, then you have to come back to us. Is that all right?
I think what we will do is, with the changes, and within the next month, just 30 days, we will then highlight what those changes are, that you then can see it. So we do the voting today, and then those will be highlighted when we send it out, so that everybody can see exactly what those additional changes were. Thank you. 2 questions there.
Could people please come forward? Thanks very much, Charles.
You're referring to minor changes, and you are expecting suggestions. One of the problems about the current constitution is that your quorum for an extra is 3 people. That means that the chairperson can call 2 other people, and the decision will be final. I don't think changing that will be a minor change. So I'm not sure that is connected to the previous question. All those kind of suggestions from our side, let us say in the next month, be addressed. Will that go back to us for approval? I think that's my words.
We'll gather a few more. If everybody's in favor, post the amendments on the group or whatever. And stay for a week. If there's no further comments and the majority still is in favor of it, then it's. Because also, don't forget, there will be an opportunity. I'm going to come to you now, John. Rob. There will be an opportunity at the end of the year. If you can get us, if there are any sort of glaring areas that we've made, you can approach us by 15th of November under the constitution that we will hopefully approve now, and alert us to other changes that you'd like to have made, and we can then make them at the annual general meeting to fine-tune it. That's my suggestion.
Chairperson, just to allay concerns about the quorum of 3 for a management committee, executive committee meeting. It's implied in the law relating to voluntary associations and such meetings that the calling of a meeting can only be done on reasonable notice unless all members consent to short notice. So that the danger of hijacking by a small number of members of a larger committee is covered by that general implied provision.
Thanks very much. Rob is a retired advocate, so he knows what he's talking about. Look, I think that
Thank you, Chairman. You know, as you know, the Constitution sets the boundaries within which an organisation operates. And I'm referring specifically to amendments to the Constitution as is described in the current Constitution. It says, and I'm translating here, I've got the Afrikaans version here. It says amendments to this Constitution may only be effected and approved at the annual general meeting and requires 2/3 majority of those present. Now, on what basis is only at the AGM not clear for the meeting today?
Thanks very much, David. In May this year, we approached Bowman's hard dailies, all hard dailies about this point. And his view was that, yes, I agree with you that the Constitution should be sacrosanct, but the intention behind that clause is that people should be given sufficient notice in order to actually vote on any amendments. And in this instance, this is why we went out on the 12th of July giving people 44 days notice, which is a huge amount of time in order to do that. And it's expedient, and I can quote from his letter if you like, for us to do it now, because towards the end of the year, when important decisions need to be made, at least we can have a more inclusive meeting, not only a small one where there has to be a vote by poll. And so that's the rationale behind it. The intention behind the law is to protect is in order to ensure that people get sufficient notice. And he confirmed that again yesterday. He said proceed with the meeting. So it would be quite interesting to get, Rob, your perspective on this. given your background. It is talking about Article 14, which is quite clear. It says that, that amendments to the Constitution should be made at the annual general meeting. It actually is believed that well, as a result of that, 12.1 under the new Constitution clarifies amendments can be made at any general meeting, provided that there is, that we showed you a few minutes ago, at least 21 days notice. So yes, I mean, it's something for you to consider. Robert, I appreciate your view on this.
Excuse me. Does that mean that the Constitution is approved today, is effective that's from today on?
Okay.
So you see, then you want to read the current Constitution, which says amendments may only be effective at the AGM. That doesn't say much to the integrity of us all at the end of the day. If we can't stick to the rules and say, oh, first, it's not to the members.
All the amendments that we run, thanks very much. Before I ask for Rob, just want to say that all of these amendments, the interests of members, all of them, it's about the balance of power, shifting the power away from the committee to the people. It's expedient for us to actually do it now. We may be forced to, if you insist, we can wait until this. But then it's going to take another long time before we can actually have an inclusive vote. So, Rob, I'm interested to get your perspective.
Discuss opinions. But on the face of it, it looks to me as though this meeting can only validly transact business in accordance with the existing constitution. And that it would have to be regarded as consultative for purposes of the adoption of the new constitution. So, conservatively, the only legal advice that's worth having is conservative advice. To be on the safe side, we need to have it adopted at the next annual general meeting. It should be called in terms of the existing constitution. And have it adopted. Any actions taken in the interim could then be validated by the same majority at the general meeting. So it should not paralyze you going forward, but you need to proceed with great caution in this area if there is anything done that could result in litigation.
Well, we bow to the legal opinions. Do anything else. But I still think that we should then. It's unfortunate because I don't think that one would want to override the legal opinion. If everybody was in favor of it, here, you sound like an objector, so it wouldn't make a difference. So we would then have to wait. Well, then the only thing that we can do is to Robert's saying that we not make a difference. So what he's saying is, if we couldn't override the legal, we would need to be conservative.
My understanding was that this meeting was to basically ratify some of those changes, so they could be approved in December. So if we get to December, it's a wonderful time, it's going back into the court. I thought that was the objective.
It's well, look, that you can either prove it now, but you can tell it can't. You can prove it subject to conditions, subject to. It could be the condition, could be like exactly.
Absolutely. It's able to December, it's a formality vote, and that basically prevents the problem that you had this year. And we
Could Rob with that? The point was that if you were to approve it subject to the condition that you reach the AGM and then it gets done, maybe it's the first item of business.
You're talking about formal adoption.
Subject to it being done.
Subject to the new constitution being approved at the AGM. Yes, the difficulty is that the legal status of this thing is uncertain between now and the AGM in the light of the existing constitution. So if you get an overwhelming endorsement today, then there's very little prospect of anything that you do, obviously in good faith, that accords with the new constitution, that's not radically out of sync with the existing constitution, would not lead to a challenge. To take care of the future, you could have all those actions ratified upon the adoption of the new constitution. The difficulty is with all these things is that somebody who wasn't here looks at the paperwork and is unhappy and takes action. You have to decide what risk you're going to take in regard to how you conduct your affairs between now and whenever that AGM is going to be, which shouldn't be too long delayed, it seems to me. It would have been perhaps better to convene this as an AGM, because there's a restriction on how often you can have that. But really what I'm saying is it's impossible to advise you that you can act safely on the basis that what you decide today provides you with an unchallengeable legal foundation for your actions between now and the formal adoption of the Constitution.
Okay, thank you. So would it be safer then to use this as a kind of working session for comments on the draft constitution, which will then be voted on at the AGM? Yes, within all those comments will have to be received before the 15th of November. You've got the year end, the financial year end is the end of November. So we're going to do it after that, and within 3 months of the year end. It just means that it's unfortunate, but probably correct. It means that we will have to have an old style kind of voting process based on a poll at that AGM. And going forward, hopefully we'll off the adopted one.
The only additional comment maybe is just use this as directional support today. So you can still, in my opinion, ask for a vote of directional support so that at the AGM you don't get 3 votes out of 100, but at least you know we're heading in the right direction. So then that can work.
So here that we, I think that makes a lot of sense to say that we've tabled a draft constitution for comment, and we would like to get directional support from the attendees here today on the draft report and an agreement that they'll submit comments on them as soon as possible, but by no later than mid-November, to give us sufficient time, I'd say even the end of October, to give us sufficient time to circulate that mocked up amended constitution for the AGM. Can we ask for that resolution? And could we please give a show of hands if you support it from a directional perspective? Okay. I think that's that. Thank you very much. I think we reached the right decision. Actually. I think it is the right decision. Thank you. That was more than 2/3. That was no unanimous. That was a unanimous. Thanks everybody for those valid discussion points. It is important that we share with each other. It is important that we are open with you, and it's important that we get your feedback. Remember, we are here for the community. We work together with the community. We work here for you. So part of our management style here, the Residents Association, is to be open and to share with everything. And that's why we have this meeting today. Remember, this is called a special general meeting. We are allowed to have a number of special general meetings. The AGM, as Craig mentioned, is only valid once a year, and our financial year close is at the 30th of November, as in our documentation. So I thank you also for being open and understanding. It was a good debate. I think we've come to conclusion, and also just for record keeping, we have a majority that says that they are in favour that we adopt a way going forward with the Constitution. I would like to just give over to Peter for some closing, and then we can close at the gate. Thank you everybody for coming out here today. For those on YouTube, braving this colder weather, and hopefully at our next meeting, we'll be able to have a lot more people here, and as I said, everyone in costumes. I won't, unfortunately, it won't work. So, guys, and then also I'm going to just remind you for donations. I've not heard the cell phone going beep of anybody paying me any funds, but I'm listening for that. So please, we are aware, and I think I've sold the Residents Association to you, and please help us take more members. And thanks for your comments. Peter?
Okay, I'm part of the Durbanville, I live in Durbanville, I'm also part of the Durbanville business or the Durbanville South Department, and the cash flow box earlier. I don't consider on the dime Durbanville. I would like to dine every Monday. That's a dream, and people is normally Afrikaans gesê geneig, mense is geneig om te dink iemand gaan die ding uitsorteer. Daar's altyd iemand wat dit uitsorteer. Die sommer is hulle sorry that is such a wrong perspective of how the world really works. There's not someone that's going to sort it out. We have to stand up. Everybody has to stand up for what's right in this world. And it makes me think about the saying, bad things happen when good people do nothing. So I want to encourage you, and I want you to encourage people. We have a great town, Yzerfonen. We would like to keep it that way. My grandmother used to stay here when I was a kid. I came here every June and December holiday. And like Eddie said, we're not against development, just the wrong kind of development that we are against. That it should be fair to everybody, and it should be fair to nature as well. So we would like to see that Yzerfonen coming stay as it is a great place where we all enjoy what Yzerfonen has to offer for us. So when it comes to, I just quickly want to say something about structures. I've learned in my dealings in Durbanville about structures and the importance of existing structures. And it's easy to sit on the side and complain. Like I'm part of the business in Durbanville. As a business, don't complain if you're not part of the business chamber. Let's put it that. That's the place where we can go present your case to the local government. And it's the same for the Yzerfonen Residents Association. Be part of the structure. That's where then you've got the right to complain. You don't have the right to complain, but it's my own personal opinion. You don't have the right to complain if you don't participate or part of the structures that's been in existence for many years. So if you're not, I think there is some people that's not members yet. become a member, but I want to encourage members that are sitting here to please encourage other Yzerfonen residents to also become part of our community. And then lastly, the Yzerfonen Residents Association, there's a lot of legal matters that we tackled this year so far. That has cost us a lot of money, and fortunately there was some generous residents that donated quite a fair amount of money to cover those expenses. And if I'm right, it was about almost 90,000 rand we spent on legal fees so far this year. And I can tell you there's going to become more challenges for Yzerfonen in the future. Yzerfonen is definitely on the map for very big and large developments. And there's going to be a lot of challenges, and we will be the responsible organization in Yzerfonen to take that on part of our members and the community. So if you feel in your heart that you want to participate in that, maybe do that. Any amount is going to help us. It's 500 or 100, it doesn't matter. But of course, we would like to have as much as possible. And my fellow management team, my colleagues, I want to say, you must know that people sit here, we've got servant hearts. You're not getting paid to do this. I can tell you it takes a lot of time. I think everybody puts lots of time into this. I started my own business a year ago. I left my family's business, so it's really, my time is my most precious thing that I have. So to give time to community, it's rewarding. And the Bible said, what you sow, you will reap. So I believe in that. I believe somehow I will reap in my efforts, right? And everybody else here. That's my message. And I think it'll be done.
Hello everybody. I'm sure that you know who I am, but those who don't, Sandy Wilkins. Janine has asked me today just to give you a brief outline of RAG, which stands for, at the moment, Road Action Group. I wrote my first letter I wrote my first letter on the 29th of May 2001 in my personal capacity, starting with Swartland Municipality, who acknowledged and advised it is the responsibility of the provincial administration. Now, this is the intersection. This is the intersection of the R27 and R315. Then in January 2008, the Robot Action Group, RAG, was established. In January 2009, we did the first petition for robots. 2,179 people signed. This was sent to the Minister of Transport. Swartland Municipality in 2009 confirmed an email, I quote, "We are on record that we support the request for a robot on the cross," unquote. In an email received from the Department of Transport dated the 11th of February 2009, I quote, "It was said traffic signals are very dangerous on high-speed rural roads," unquote. On Tuesday, the 9th of June 2009, RAG met with Minister Robin Carlyle, the NEC for Transport and other officials at the bus stop on the corner of the R27 and R315. Following this meeting, an email was received advising, and I quote, "The department undertook to begin process immediately if everyone agreed to the proposed changes, and that procedures have to be followed, and they are busy appointing a contractor, unquote. In 2021, the Robot Action Group changed its name to Road Action Group. A second petition was arranged with a total of 2,234 signatures. This petition was not for robots, but for urgent attention to be given to our section. It was submitted to the relevant authorities. On the 1st of December 2021, the Forum met Minister Mitchell as well as other officials. In December 2022, another side meeting was held with the then Minister of Transport, and info was sent to Mr. Edward Britton of the Residents Association. Email received from the Department of Infrastructure dated the 3rd of September 2023, which states, and I quote, Department of Infrastructure, the authority is the authority on the R27. Department has recently appointed consultants to investigate the needs on this route from Melkbos to Langebaan, as well as from Langebaan to Veldrift, in brackets, considering the industrial development, close brackets. The intersection has been placed on the list of projects for the department because Swartland municipality has indicated that their view is as important. Because we are currently only in the investigation phase, this project is not scheduled in the current capital N, capital T, capital E, capital X. Now, I don't know what that means. Maybe somebody here can tell me. Unquote. RAG has had dealings with 7 ministers, as well as Mr. Premier Alan Windy, and has been in touch with recently appointed Minister Barbara Creasy. No reply received, just an incident reference number. Regarding the proposed development at our dangerous intersection opposite the Putstal, RAG has registered as an interested and affected party. Because if this development takes place, something must be done at our dangerous intersection. And then also RAG has reported about that sign at the intersection that was dropped down. There was an accident on 18th of July. And they fixed the sign, but the sign is skewed and it's obstructing the view from vehicles coming from Langebaan. So RAG is also attending to that. Thank you for allowing me to the picture.
Just guys, we there's a question there. Just please remember we are also for volunteers to take over to Dean's position, so don't forget that. Edward, you're welcome to come up with this. Don't stretch the meeting too long. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a question. I really just want to share some information with you. This intersection was started by Sandy as the Robot Action Group, and subsequently it ended up with the Yzerfonen Forum, which is the chairman of the 4 organizations that were mentioned earlier. Now, what I'm sharing with you is a highly confidential email that was
passed on to me. One develops your own channels of contacts over the years. And since I did the communication with the Department of Traffic of Roads in the Western Cape, I'm pretty familiar with the thing, but it's all been handed on. Let me just read, this is in Afrikaans, but what's important here is to say, essentially, this is from a very senior director of that department, and he said accidents happen at all intersections and hoe meer verkeer hulle dra, hoe groter is die kans vir ongelukke. Ons het daar alles by hierdie interseksie gedoen, behalwe om 'n wisselaar te bou. Dit moet jy kennis van neem, behalwe om 'n wisselaar te bou by die volgende logiese stad is. Dis waarvoor die Yzerfonen Forum gevra het. Die verruiming, die verruiming, wisselaar. Dis die enigste oplossing, soos ons almal weet. Kyk maar na die een wat op die NC is, as jy by Nankos opbly na die NC, waar dit moeilik gevaarlik was. En nou het ek verder aangegaan, die man het gesê, die groep wat ek gaan nooit bereik word hier in die middele, waar hy sê, so elke interseksie, sy feite is alles, en Yzerfonen sit in die middel of nowhere, op 'n landelikse pad is presisie die gepaste plek vir verkeerslig nie. Volgens Swartland, munisipaliteit, in 2022 is daar 'n vergadering gehou met die bestuur van Swartland en met ek wil teenwoordig van die departement, sowel as die padingenieur, die senior directeur, Melanie Meyer, of Meyer. En is daar besluit dat die brug van Stellenbosch na Mamasbury en hierdie interseksie op die R27, nou die TR77 en die R315, nou die MR2 is dit die twee volgende belangrike kapitaalontwikkelings op die lys. Dan moet ek weer sê, die dame by die padingenieur het gesê, en dit is in 2021, dat 'n wisselaar van 113 miljoen rand kost. Wat dit nou is met die vader alleen maar van baie meer so 130 miljoen rand, is dit een ding wat seker is. Maar dit is die enigste oplossing. Want die pad word die R27, kom ons noem, maar dit word inderdaad 'n dubbellaan pad met die ontwikkeling van Saldanha as 'n vragskepshawe hawe. En dan kom alle uitverkeerde ons toe. So enige iets anders is 'n wisselaar is noodsaak. Dis waarvoor ons moet beklei. Ek het navraag gedoen met die aangeleentheid, en hopelijk gaan ek binne die volgende week of 2 antwoorde kry, en dan gaan ek dus aanstuur aan die enige, maar veral in die forum wat tans besaak hanteer. Dankie, dit is my raad.
Baie dankie. Have a blessed weekend. Stay warm. Some still looking for